Yeah, I think we've had good performances over the last 3 weeks. Atlanta probably being our most complete performance of the season. And we're 12 matches in, and I think we're continuing to fine tune ourselves in all phases of the game. And I think now we have a big challenge against a really good opponent, obviously one that I'm familiar with. And I'm looking forward to seeing how we continue to build on what we've done and see against a top quality side if we can take the next step and be consistent, have consistent performances like that in back-to-back matches.
Do you feel like it being your former team and you being familiar with the team, the play style, do you think it gives you slightly an edge, maybe going forward this season?
Not necessarily. I mean, obviously, I was there for 2 years, and I know the organization well. But they've made changes themselves, not only just in the coaching staff and some of the players, but even in their style of play. I think that they have modified a little bit, and that's probably why they're also putting more points on the table right now.
And lastly, just about Christian Benteke. I
Mm.
mean, he's been tearing it up, one of the top names in the MLS, most likely an All-Star in a couple of months. How does it feel to have a piece like him on your team?
Yeah, one, I said this after the match. One, I'm in a fortunate position to coach a guy like that, and so I recognize that. I think our team recognizes that we have one of the most lethal strikers in the league, as well as one of the best human beings in the league, and that's a dynamite combination to work with. And I'm really pleased for him because he deserves every bit of success that he's having and all the attention that he's getting. And I know he's the type of person that isn't going to be satisfied with that. I mean, he's going to continue to work to get more, and that's only going to push our group.
And then Matt will take some from Zoom now.
We'll start off with Stephen Goff.
Troy, thanks for your time. First, I want to get your reaction to Connor's injury and just the emotions of that, particularly the way he hurt his knee and then kept grinding it out the other night in Atlanta.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Steve, because Connor's someone that just giving you a little bit of background. I mean, the way that he's worked to get to this level is something that not many are familiar with, and he went from a guy that was playing for PDL and Tormenta. He came on trial with the Charlotte Independence my last couple weeks while I was there before I left for New Mexico United. And he ended up signing on with Tormenta whenever they went League One. Then he went to Indy 11, went to Tampa. And it doesn't happen that a player at that age in the USL always gets an opportunity at the MLS level. And so he got that, and then he took it a step further and started a number of matches and made a big impact for us. And he was making a great impact the other night when he came on in the second half. And I'm really proud of how he's been able to adjust to this level and step into our team and help us. And I'm really sad by the fact that he's not going to be able to do that for the rest of the season in 2024. But he's the type of guy that's a fighter. He's going to make sure that his rehab's right, and he's going to come back stronger. I know that. And we'll miss him. And one more time, what you bring up last there about how he stays in the match is exactly who Connor Antley is. I mean, he's going to fight with everything that he has all the way, through the end, even if he's just torn his ACL.
And from a practical standpoint, how does this impact you and your defensive core? And presumably he'll be put on season ending and might open up a little bit of space for you in the summer window.
It's possible. It's possible that provides an opportunity for us to go and look at someone else. But right now, we're not thinking about that. We're thinking about making sure Connor's right, making sure his surgery's right, and I just told you last week we were in a position where we were finally getting everyone healthy, with the exception of Russ. So, we haven't even turned the page towards looking at what the summer is going to bring us. Just want to make sure Connor's right first.
Got it. Thanks, Troy.
Yep.
Next, we'll go to Dave Johnson.
Troy, you just mentioned about Connor's fighting spirit, but does that also just seem to be the way it's going for the team? It looked like Saturday was a great mental step forward as much as it was how you played.
It was, and thank you for that. I think you could see it from the circumstances of the game. We give up a penalty, and it's a kind of a strange one, but the response from the group within minutes, we tie the game up, and then we take the lead prior to halftime, and a great goal. I thought the Philly goal was one of our best goals of the season, but the first one. But I think the second goal was right up there. I mean, it really was quality from us. And and then we start the second half, and we again we just make an error in terms of being with the ball and have a kind of a sloppy giveaway to make it 2-2, and that could deflate a team, and it didn't. We kept going. I think we kept pressing. We responded right away with a one-on-one with Guzan, and he makes a big save, and we find the 3-2 go-ahead goal, and then we see the match out. We continue to push for more goals, but we see the match out, and that's a hurdle that we needed to get over, and doing that away to Atlanta should give us some confidence.
I was just going to say, I mean, both those situations, the own goal and the penalty, that it almost had a feeling like, wait a minute, this is not going to be your night, but that thought obviously didn't enter your players' minds.
Yeah, you can see from the group that's an area that we're continuing to grow in, and we have a lot more growth. I mean, I'd like to not give up those goals. That's the next step, so then we can really see things out in a better fashion.
We're gonna talk to Jared later in this press conference, but so just to get, you talked about great fluidity last week against Philadelphia. That obviously continued in Atlanta, and especially, what do you see that dynamic on that right side? Because there's a great chemistry, it seems.
Yeah, just as I spoke about earlier about Christian Benteke, I have a number of guys that I'm really fortunate to work with, and it's my job to just put them in good positions and highlight what their strengths are. And so down that right side, when you have Aaron, Jared, and Clicky, I try to give them structure, but within that structure, there's a lot of freedom. And so they're intelligent players that understand the right spaces to get into, and when they have time, they can make decisions that hurt the opponent. And I think Koo and Gabby down the left-hand side, Daho, they're starting to come into it more and more as well, and that's gonna make us more dangerous and a little bit more balanced.
Next, we'll go to Donald Wine.
Thank you. Hi, Troy. Thanks for your time today. This is your first game in charge on this side of the rivalry, the Atlantic Cup, one of the premier rivalries in this league. But lately, the league in general has kind of given it lesser stature, putting it on Wednesdays, and a lot of fans have kind of felt disrespected that this rivalry has not been given top billing alongside some of the other great ones we have in this league. Someone has been on both sides of the aisle now, so to speak, in DC. Talk about the rivalry to you, and is there a little bit extra pep, a little extra bounce, a little extra sense of urgency this week, given that it is the Red Bulls coming to town?
From a Red Bull perspective, I can say that the 2 years there, we played DC United a total of 6 times, I believe, with Open Cup matches. And from our standpoint, every single time, we understood what the magnitude of the match was. And I think the NYCFC rivalry coming in 2015, that probably divided the attention between DC United and NYCFC from a Red Bull perspective. But when I asked Steve Birnbaum this week who the biggest rival is, there's no doubt about it. And so that's a player that's been here for a number of years, and the history of the club definitely states that when DC United plays Red Bull, it's a rivalry match. I mean, it's an absolute match that we want to go in and have bragging rights. In the last couple seasons, that hasn't been the case, and so that's really the focus. Not so much the rivalry and the derby of it, just trying against an opponent that we haven't had success here in the last couple years. We want to get some of that momentum back, and I think that's something that we're well aware of.
This week, this rivalry week that we've had kind of over the last week plus, you beat Philadelphia, or you tied Philadelphia, but you still, had a winless streak entering that match. You had a winless streak entering Atlanta. You right those demons, and now you have another match against another rival who you kind of have a winless streak going back a couple of years. Is that on the mind of the players and the staff of, hey, let's try and knock these out one at a time? These are little battles along the season. I know guys like bulletin board material, but is that something that you guys look at when you're considering an opponent for especially a rivalry game?
We like to preserve the history, and we like to celebrate our history here, but we also don't focus in too much. Steve asked that question about Philly, and I really wasn't as aware about Philadelphia as I am about Red Bull, just because I was there for the last couple of seasons. But yeah, I mean, I think it's a match that deserves more attention. To your first question, and from our standpoint here at DC, we want to go and put things in a right way moving forward from 2024 and on, about trying to take one off our rivals.